Howdy y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Aaron Cavley and we're going to continue the further adventures of Jinx the Cyberpunk. Before I do though, I thought I'd just show off that I went and got the physical copies of the books for Neon City Overdrive. They're pretty cool, they look neat. I love that color theme, and something they've got, like, basically the rules are all on the back of the book. The main, like, skill checks and the rules on how to how to run the game right there on the back of the book. So, there's a lot of good info. The rules are very straightforward. So Jinx has been, after his mission, his last mission, he's found himself being used by the cardinal vultures, uh, specifically Slab, his Plex boss, to work on cars, to work on the cars in her garage that she uses to make deliveries and stuff. Um, and for about 2 weeks, he's okay with that because it's, he likes working with his hands. He finds it somewhat surprisingly satisfying and relaxing to work with his hands on these vehicles. But he is a daredevil, and so after a couple of weeks of doing this, he's still doing his regular run of the mill deliveries and driving and escorting for members of the gang. Nothing exciting really happens in that short time. So he decides to start looking for some work, putting it out there with the gang and with some freelance grid pages. Because as a member of the gang, he is allowed to do freelance work as long as, one, he gets permission from his Plex boss, in this case, Slab. Whatever he's doing doesn't go against the gang in any way or complicate any of their relationships or thwart them in any way. And finally, he has to tithe. He has to tithe a percentage. Tithe technically means 10%, but that fluctuates depending on the needs of the family. But he has to tithe part of whatever he gets in reward or in compensation for his mission. And we're going to roll up. We're just going to start with rolling a random mission. I don't want everything for Jinx to just be about driving. I mean, that's his jam. That's what he's very good at. He's a rev head by nature. Is kind of his main trademark, if you will. But I don't want all of his adventures to just be about him, um, driving here and there. So I'm gonna see if I'm gonna use the results. I'm gonna guide it. See if maybe something a little different can maybe come up. Okay. So first things first, we'll bring up our mission list here. Jobs. Bring up the jobs. Okay, so paid handsomely to rescue or recover an artifact. I'm going to re-roll that one because I think the last two have been artifacts. So I'm going to re-roll that one just to mix it up a little bit. Okay, person of interest. Will be opposed by a cyber brute, and this time it's personal. So since it's paid handsomely and it's personal, I'm going to say that it's probably something outside the gang. He does know, he is a member of the gang, and he likes his gang, and he gets along well with them and everything. But I think in this case, with those roles, someone outside is going to pay him handsomely, and this time it's personal. Let's see. So I'm thinking that maybe he's going to be paid handsomely, and he knows who needs to be rescued. Let's see. Okay. So he does, and that's what makes it personal. This cyber brute, let's see, is it going to be tied to something? It's going to be tied to one of his previous capers. I'm going to say on a 4, 5, or 6 it is. Well, I'm getting the idea of maybe someone close to Jinx, maybe someone we haven't been introduced yet. Maybe they're being held hostage because of his interactions. I'm thinking with either, the Razor Girl that he kind of rammed out, or that bounty hunter way back in the beginning of his cyberpunk career. So 4, 5, or 6, it's in some kind of retaliation for one of his previous missions. Okay, so it's not. It is someone. I think that it's going to be someone he knows. Let's see. All right. So to figure out more about how it's personal, I'm going to use this. This is Tricube Tales solo play, and it's something for a game called Tricube Tales, which actually has a lot in common with Neon City Overdrive and the Action Dice system. I like both systems, but this solo table is pretty good. So I'll give it a D66. All right, 15. What kind of person, or 1, 5. Okay. So this person is a bumpkin. All right. So this person that he needs to rescue, there's something interesting about them. And I'm going to roll 1d6. The higher the roll, the more personal it is between them. Okay. Oh, you know what? Okay. I think this is just going to be a case of Country Mouse and City Mouse. The result from the table was bumpkin or / peasant. And I think this person is going to be a relative of his that he knows, but this relative lives out in the Badlands, or at least in the part of the city that is very rural, very distant from the center. And this person, let's see, 3. Okay, so it's going to be male, and the person's name will be Eduardo. Oh, oops, that's 3-1. So this person's name is going to be Felipe. Felipe Portillo. Felipe Portillo. So let me write that down on our mission 3. Let me hit pause so you don't have to watch me do admin stuff. All right, so Jinx gets gets off of work, says goodbye to Slab and some of the other people that are working in the warehouse, the garage area that he's come to be friends with just because he works with them often enough. He goes home into, again, his nicer, cleaner apartment with that is now well stocked with beer and a couple more exploratory, exciting type drinks tucked away in his little bar now, and his delicious food. And as he's sitting down and eating and flipping through the grid news presentations and entertainment channels, just kind of flipping through, looking for something, he really doesn't care. He gets a message and it pops up, the caller name pops up, and he's taken aback. It's it's his uncle, Ben Ibai. He answers, and a middle-aged man, looks like a corpo. He's definitely a corpo. He was kind of the black sheep of the family. He got up out of the streets and he made a name for himself. Got to be to the point where he was wealthy enough that he didn't have much to do with the family after he made it into the Neon Towers of the arcologies. Salvador, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. Uncle, my name's not Salvador. No one calls me Salvador. Now I'm Jinx. Oh, is that your street name? Yes, yes, it is, Uncle. It's good to see you too. What, is something wrong? Are you? I haven't heard from you in years. What do you want? That's no way to talk to your uncle. What do you want? All right, fine. Your cousin Felipe. That bumpkin? What's he doing even in the city walls? He should be staying outside in his storm gutters outside the walls where he's always lived. He came in the city. Okay, he was visiting, he got lost, decided he wanted to live inside the city, so he hooked himself up. Ah, I already know where this is going, Uncle. You don't talk to me for 8 years. Now you're gonna dump a problem on me like this? Just listen. He's got himself in trouble with with one of these cyber brutes, one of these cyber punks out there harassing people on the street, taking advantage of them. His name is Marcus Malice. I swear that's why I left the streets. It's what a stupid name. But he has Felipe. He owes him money. Yes, apparently for some kind of loans he took out so he could get established inside the city. Jesus, Uncle. Didn't you tell him to leave? Oh, you probably haven't talked to him either for all these years. Yes, that's essentially so. Look, I'm not here to be judged by you. I've got a lot of important work that I do for these corps. Then why don't you just pay his debt off? It's enormous, it's unreasonable. Even at my pay grade, I can't pay them. Oh, I see Browning is not paying as well what they used to. It's Browning y Caro now. And no, they're not. Not as far as benefits go. And I don't even think that this Malice guy wants money. I think he just wants to beat Felipe and dump his body somewhere. But I've got him convinced that I can pay his ridiculous see if you'll give me time. Look, I know that I'm not close to you people anymore, but that doesn't mean I don't recognize our family. When I started reaching out and looking to see who I could contact, I heard about Jinx. I heard that you'd gotten in it. You got yourself a bit of a reputation going as a cyberpunk yourself, as some street thug. And I want to hire you to rescue Felipe. And I'll pay you well. I can't afford to pay the ridiculous fee that that monster wants for Felipe. But I can give you a good pay for it if you do it. I mean, you could do it yourself just out of your own family connections. I haven't talked to that bumpkin in 12 years. I think the last time I did it was when he was throwing mud in my face. Ah, children, the bygones be bygones. Look, then ignore the family thing, fine. Will you take the job? And Uncle Ben forwards, he taps his little implant and he forwards the fee that he will pay Jinx to go rescue Felipe. And it is a goodly sum. He's not he's not overly excited or close to Felipe. His family is now the gang. His family is the Cardinal Vultures. But he has a little bit of loyalty to the blood, and it is a goodly sum. Okay, I'll see what I can do. Where do I meet? Do you even have any details of where this guy's at? I'm supposed to send him some secure chips. He's going to give me the location once I agree that I can pay the price, once I confirm that I've got it. I tell him that I've got it. You go and do your cyberpunk thing at the exchange. Okay, well, you know that he's probably going to have guards and thugs and people, his men, right? Well, I'm not paying you cheap, right? That's what you cyberpunks do. I'm a market analyst. I don't know about these things. Can you do it or not? Do you want the job or not? Yeah, yeah, I'll do it. All right, arrange the meetup and let me know. And it was good seeing you, Uncle. And maybe sometime after this goes through, maybe you can come to my funeral. Oh, you're so funny, Salvador. It's Jinx. Ah. And Uncle Ben hangs up. And Jinx finishes his dinner. The idea of getting out of the garage seems like a good one to him. It seems good. And the money's no joke. It is a good bit of money. He's wondering if if his uncle doesn't have some kind of kidnapping insurance or something from the corp. But he finishes his dinner, goes to sleep, and early in the morning, he has a message, a data file over the grid from Uncle Ben, and it has the location. He pulls the location up, and it's actually in the neighborhood that called the Warrens, and it's not easily accessible in any way. He can't, because the passages are so small, and it's crammed with these tenements and old tunnels and construction works and everything, that he's not going to be able to get his car in there. He'll be able to get it close, but he's not going to be able to do some fancy tricks with his car like he has used to save his bacon on the last couple of missions. So he's going to have to go in and maybe expect a fight. Well, unless he can sneak around. He's street scum. He's not used to he's used to pilfering and skulking. So maybe he could do that. Um, but he goes to um, Slab in the morning, describes what he needs to do. He plays up the family connection, even though he doesn't really feel it, but he plays it up to her in hopes that she will help. Uh, that she'll or that she'll allow him to go, and she does, because he's not really doing much for her at the moment aside from tuning the cars up. I think it's good that you remember your family. Even though you're in a new family, blood is thick. Blood is thick. Jinx. Is there anything I can help you with? And Jinx is going to think about what he needs to do. Normally, with the mission, something like that, you would ask the the person hiring you gives you your special gear. But I think in this case, it seems more reasonable that he would maybe get it from the Cardinal Vultures, since one his uncle probably does not have any access to that kind of stuff, and two, you know getting the Cardinal Vultures, to kind of keep them involved, to keep that gang life up front in the story. So he's going to, let's see, to do that, you can ask for four things with four traits. And the first thing he's going to ask for is he's going to ask for he wants a little extra firepower. He does have his pistol, kind of his machine pistol, but he wants a nice wired like submachine gun, or some kind of assault type weapon that will lay down some firepower. So what he's going to aim for, I just put these notes on this thing here that you can't see. So he's going to aim for auto fire, accurate, which will be tied into his reflexes somehow. Maybe it has some kind of direct connection to what he can see. And let's see. Let's take a look at our gear, see if we get some other ideas. He has an idea what he wants. He wants to be stealthy if need be. He wants a upgrade to his weapons, and he wants some better armor. He wants some good armor. He has a feeling that it might turn ugly. All right, so he's decided he wants an LPS 34 PDW for personal defense weapon that will have auto fire, accuracy, and armor piercing. So we're going to give that a roll, see if he can get that. Okay, so that's 3 tags, and he rolled a 3, so that means he gets that. The next thing he wants is he wants some improved body armor, basically kind of a cool armor jacket that is concealed and is tough. So that's going to be 2 or better to get it. Okay, just barely, but barely works. The next thing he wants some stun grenades, some EMP grenades. This guy's a cyber brute. He probably is traveling with other cyber people, so he wants a pocket full of these mini cyber grenades, and they will work to stun people. So if he needs to throw them in and Felipe's in close proximity, um, he can use those. All right. So he has some stun grenades, and finally, with his last roll, what he wants is a surveillance drone, one of these kind of snazzy spy type models that are silent and hard to detect, that can kind of follow around and help him scan for threats while he's walking in these kind of unfamiliar territory. He knows the city pretty well, but this area, the Warrens, is it's twisty turvy, and no one really knows that area very well unless they live there, and he doesn't he doesn't want to live there. No one really wants to live there. And this is going to have the tags of silent and direct link. So 2 or higher. Okay, so another close one. Another close one. Let's add those. Let's add those to his sheet. All right, so I've added to a sheet. You'll see a little 3 after the body armor. I'm going to try using a rule from the fantasy sister or brother of NCO, the dungeon crawlers. And what it allows you to do is you can sacrifice, the armor has 3 hits. You can sacrifice 1 hit for an extra roll. And in this case, that extra die roll, that will come after it's failed. And if that die roll succeeds, then it won't mean that he's now has succeeded. It just means that he prevents from getting damage. He got hit, but the armor saves him. So that's a little add-in from dungeon crawlers. I'm gonna play around, see how well that works. So he got all of his gear. He he psychs himself up a bit, and then tries to play cool as he drives one of the junkers to the area, gets out and he programs in the location to the drone, sets it up high so that it's kind of watching around, and he goes forward looking for this place. The instructions that the cyber brute sent Uncle Ben talk about entering into an old factory of some kind years ago. Who knows what it made, but now it's kind of a den of iniquity, and that's where he's supposed to meet and make the trade. Of course, he doesn't want to just waltz in there, so he's going to try to scout the place out. And the first thing to do is scouting the place out. He's going to send the drone in. And that drone is going to give him the direct link tag. Basically just lets him see everything. All of its scanners and everything. So for that, let's see, I think I'm probably going to use Gutter Scum, because that's kind of I know these streets and everything. So that'll be 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go ahead and give him the 4 dice as he's heading into this area. And they're not really looking for him. Or he's assuming they know what Uncle Ben looks like, but they don't really know what he looks like. So he's trying to look inconspicuous as he sends in his drone to scout out where these people are. He's going to try to determine how many people this cyber brute, if any, he has working for him. So 4 action dice and 0 danger dice. Okay, so he gets a boon. He sends the drone in, And that boon, as it turns out, it's just this cyber brute, but it's a badass cyber brute. So he's alone, and he can see Felipe is hogtied up on the ground on this platform. The the rest of the area inside this this warehouse where they're supposed to arrange a meeting, it has signs of recent occupation. It looks like perhaps this Marcus Malice drove out all the homeless people or all the lesser gangs in there. And this Marcus Malice, he is a big dude. He's a big dude. He's got the chrome plates. He's got the cyber eyes. It looks like he's got some kind of glowing katana thing on his back, and he's got cyber claws, and he's a brute. But with the boon, the thing gets in, maps the area around, and gives Jinx a good route in. He's able to pick the route out, and then the drone comes back out. Or the drone doesn't come back out. The drone, he sets it up to uh, find a place where a ledge it can sit on, so that it's, even though it's silent, you can sometimes hear those things. He sets it up on a ledge, and he's controlling the camera so he can keep an eye on everything. And he's going to try to sneak in as close as he can. Let's take a look. Let's make ourselves a cyber brute. How about that? All right. So there is our sheet for Marcus Malice. And so our boy Jinx, he has a good spot picked out, but Marcus is agitated. He's growing impatient, it looks like, and he's turning this way and that, uh, mumbling and cussing about the pendejo who hasn't shown up to pay. He said he'd pay. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. And Jinx can hear this through the direct link from the stealth drone. And so he's trying to pick the best way he can. He's got a EMP grenade kind of at the ready, and he's got his gun, his LPS 42. Is that what I said it was? Well, whatever I said it was. His assault rifle. Yeah, LPS 34. So he's got his LPS 34 ready, and he's going to try to sneak as close as he can to hopefully intimidate Marcus, to give the impression that he's got the drop on him. So I'm going to give him one base die for that, for his base die, one for Street Scum, and I'm going to give him one for the information that he got from the drone, and from the path and from the direct link. And I'm going to throw one danger die in there because Mr. Malice is pacing around. Okay, excellent. So that's a very good. He gets into a position, and where Marcus is distracted, kind of pushing Felipe with his feet, kicking him, and hey, where's your uncle? Where's your friend? I thought that he was gonna save you. Look, man, look, you'll be here. You said you'd be here. Shut up! And he kicks him. Not hard enough to break any teeth or anything, but definitely enough to ring Felipe's bell. But this distraction lets Jinx get right up close to him, right where he wants to be. Not so close that he can be easily grabbed right away, but he has a good tactical position. he doesn't want to risk Felipe if he can avoid it. So he's going to say, just leave, just leave him there and walk away, and I won't fucking ventilate your skull. Uh, Marcus Malice, he turns, but he's a cool customer. He turns and he grins because he's dealt with this kind of stuff before. He knows what's going on. He sneers at Jinx. You think you're gonna do something to me with that tiny little meat body? I'm gonna give you 3 fucking seconds to give me the money that Uncle Ben said that he would deliver, or I'm gonna put a spike through Felipe's skull. I will fill your brain with lead before you even get close to doing that. I'm wired. You will not beat me. Is he going to be able to convince Marcus? I don't know. Marcus is desperate. He wants money. I'm going to give him one and one more for Street Scum. He's kind of trying to be intimidating. And he did get the drop on him, even though Marcus is playing it off. Jinx did get the drop on him. So I'm going to give him 3 for his attempt to intimidate. But Marcus is no fool, so I'll give him 1 danger dice for that. All right, so he got a 5, which is a success, but it's not a full success. So Marcus, he's kind of taken aback, so he steps back, at least away from Felipe. So he gives Jinx some breathing room, but Marcus looks and says, "This little shithead owes me a lot of money." Jinx shakes his head and says, I've seen what you're asking, and there is no way that bumpkin got that much money from you without you giving it to him to take advantage of him like this. Hey, look, if they want to come play in my city, they play by my rules. Now, unless you're going to pay, Felipe is going to pay. Cash or blood, your choice. And it looks like even though he had a partial success, his success was basically going to be to move Malice, Mr. Malice, kind of out of the way to give him a better shot. Jinx doesn't see that this guy is going to go, just let him go, which he wouldn't either, frankly. Jinx knows how the streets work. You can't be a punk in front of anybody. And if this guy really does owe somehow, and Marcus just lets it go, then that's going to bring more heat onto him in the future. So he knows that Marcus has to be satisfied somehow. He's just not going to walk away. He might walk away if there was some kind of overwhelming force, but it's just some skinny gangbanger, Jinx. And so he's going to he's just going to try to shoot him. He's going to try to shoot Marcus. He's going to try to ventilate him before he can do anything back. Let's see. So his fancy PDW is auto fire, accurate, and armor piercing. He's not going to do the auto fire just yet because he is still close to Felipe, so he's not going to get that. But he is accurate, and the armor piercing will help against this cyborg dude because, well, he's tough. So we're going to give him 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 dice. And Marcus is pretty tough. I mean, he has body armor himself. and he's all wired up and jacked. So I'm gonna give 2 danger dice right here because it's right at the beginning, and Jinx doesn't have any great measure of surprise right now. He does have a little bit maybe momentum going into his move, but he doesn't have the drop on him really anymore. All right. All right. So he gets 2 successes, or he gets one full success, and he takes a couple quick pot shots, and the sparks fly off of Malice's embedded armor, bing bing, and rips a piece of faux flesh from like the top of his scalp. So he's going to take a hit for that. And Marcus is he's not interested in Felipe, even though Felipe is now going, oh god, oh god, oh god, laying on the ground hogtied, trying to curl his way up into even more of a backwards ball, scooching out of the way. Um, Marcus is leaping back and returning fire, and now it's in a firefight. Jinx has decent position because he was able to, when he snuck up, he would, even though he exposed himself, he had nearby cover, so he's in a good position. And I think this time I'll go ahead and give him Marcus Malice. He's just unloading his weapon. So I'm gonna give a full 3 danger dice on this one because he's on the defensive, and now he's just wailing. He's just unloading his weapons at Jinx, trying to find cover, as Jinx is of course still shooting at him. Oh, okay. So it looks like Malice gets the drop on him that time. Jinx got a 6, but Malice's danger die also got a 6, so that cancels it out. So no successes. No successes there. And Jinx, he has to duck down and roll out of the way, but his armor stops him being completely ventilated, but he feels something. Hit him a couple things hit him along the side. The armor stops it, but he's bruised and in pain from the kinetic trauma that makes it through, and now he's scrambling for a different position because Marcus has just ventilated the cover that he was in. Now Jinx, he's running. He's trying to find another piece of cover, and he is just kind of spraying since Marcus is he judges or hopes far away enough from Felipe. Jinx is able to. He's running and just spraying down the area, while Marcus is also returning fire and seeking cover. So they're basically both just speeding along, trying to get that cover. And let's see, I think Jinx is going to use a he's going to use a stunt point on this shot to tie his Gutter Scum and Daredevil. So he'll get one base, a trademark for Gutter Scum, and I'm gonna let him fight dirty. And then Daredevil reflexes and auto fire for his um, submachine gun thing. So that's going to be a total of 6 dice for using his stunt point. So he taps in and he links up his natural reflexes with his ability to fight dirty, and he's now shooting very controlled bursts. He's sending a lot of lead down in Malice's way, or down Malice's way, but he's doing it in such a fashion that is making it hard for Malice to find good cover to leap out of the way. But Malice is also firing back, so that will give him his 6 dice. And we'll give Malice 2. He's kind of on the defensive, but he's still armored and he is still shooting back. So we'll see if this helps him at all. Okay. All right, so he does manage to get a partial success, but because he was firing so much, he does end up hitting Malice. The bullets spray and explode and through this canister that Malice is trying to get through, and he screams as a couple bullets get him on the side, and some fragments from the canister shred his face. But now Jinx is out of ammo because he just unloaded the whole magazine, and so now Malice he's angry, he's pissed off. He's got his gun, and now he's going to charge at Jinx while he's from cover to cover. I mean, he's not stupid, but he notices that Jinx has paused. He's going to run towards Jinx because even though Jinx has got a gun and has caused him damage, Jinx still is a small guy compared to this Malice. So he's running at Jinx, and Jinx needs to leap out of the way. So this is going to be a completely defensive roll on Jinx's behalf. Let's see, it's separate. He used his reflexes last time, so in this case I think I'll use his. Yeah, I think it'll be a Daredevil, and I'm going to give him 3 dice. No, I think I'll give him 4 because he is fearless. I think his fearless and his reflexes will work together to allow him to not freak out and to continue to reload as he's trying to evade the counterattack. But Malice is rushing towards him and unloading with his powerful assault rifle. Oh, dang. Okay, so he does. Okay, so the 6s cancel, so he gets four weak successes. Well, 2 weak successes because this other one works as well. But he manages to keep from being injured, but he has to move so much and leap out of the way to avoid this hail of bullets coming from this powerful rifle that are just shredding everything he's looking for cover behind. Suddenly just collapses and blows away in a cloud of shrapnel as these powerful rounds go ripping through them. So he avoids damage, but as he's trying to reload his gun, Malice leaps over with obviously these bionic cybernetic legs. He covers the distance in this leap, and he takes Jinx and knocks him aside, and Jinx's weapon is not loaded, and so now they're kind of in a melee, and Jinx definitely is on the negative of this. Let's see. So what Jinx is going to try to do is he's not really he can fight dirty, so he's going to instead of trying to fool with his pistol, he's going to try to, instead of reloading, he's going to try to jab the rifle, the empty rifle, into into one of the eye sockets or something. He's using the rifle as a sudden, kind of like a club, using his fight dirty ability. So that's going to give him 1, 2, 3. I think just 3 for now. We're just going to give him 3 for now. So it'll give 3 dice. And I think Malice still has the initiative. Really, he's kind of in control of the fight. And again, one of the departures I make is when it's directly contested fights, then I just make one roll, and the player either hits them or he gets hit. You know, if it's a completely defensive roll, then he's trying to jump out of the way. But this is back to a contested status. You know what? I think I'm going to give this Cyber Brute 3. I mean, he's a brute. He's a Cyber Brute. He's tough. So 3 danger dice. Okay, 0 successes. 0 successes. And I think this will be a time for Jinx to hope that his armor is able to stop this this cyber claw, this claw that's coming from Malice, slashing right at his face. And that's just going to be 1 dice. And basically, if it's a success, it will stop it'll stop 1 point of damage. Now the armor has already been reduced by 1. 0 successes. All right. So no good for Jinx. He tries to step aside, but he stumbles, and Malice's cyber claw pierces through the armor, and he can feel the burn as these claws jab into his shoulder, and he screams. Ah! He's never really been stabbed like that before. He's been in some car fights and he's been in car fights and car crashes, but he's never had steel stuck into him like that. So he's and he's going to, let's see. He's going to try to fight dirty again, but this time he's going to try to fight dirty with you know what? No, I take that back. He's going to try to get his pistol out and into the fight, because now he knows it's very close. He just got jabbed, so he's going to try to get his pistol out and just start blowing off his shots. Not his fancy one; it's still not loaded. And I'm going to give him 4 dice. He's going to be his daredevil. He's still fearless, and he's still got his reflexes. But he does have this dude's dagger, or his claws have pierced him. So we're going to give him two danger dice as he tries to whip his pistol out. Oh, and he doesn't get it. Okay, not a botch, but he gets his pistol out and he shoots up, but the cyber thug knocks the gun not out of his hand, but knocks it out of the way, so it spoils the shot, and he jabs. He tries to push that thing in there even more. Let's see, will his armor help him? Let's see. No, no help. So, poor, let's see. I think we're going to spend a stunt point to keep him from getting knocked down to 0. So he's got one stunt point left. And so Jinx is able to, even though he missed, he's able to get the dagger out of him, the claws out of him. Blood kind of sprays, and he barely manages to duck away as Malice brings his cyber claws from the other side using his stunt points. And he's going to use his last stunt point to get his fighting dirty and his daredevil to have some combat and hopefully deadly synergy. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to give him 6. I don't think his fearlessness will help him at this point because he's just in a struggle right now. And I think that being so close and being in this melee where the other guy is kind of, has the opportunity to knock his gun away, and I think that's going to negate any bonus tags from the pistol. But so we'll limit that to 6 dice. And still 2, still 2. Even his claws are coming down, and Jinx is trying to roll and uh, keep his armored jacket in the way as best as he can. And he brings his pistol around, hoping to get that shot up into cyber thug, up into Malice's face or his heart or mouth. See what happens. Ah, there we go. All right, no boon, no boon, but he does get a shot. He's struggling. The daggers, the claws are actually just about to try to sever his hand when he gets it sideways and gets a shot off, and the bullet, a small burst, rings off of Malice's skull, brings him down to 0 hits. So now he's bloodied. And what that means to be bloodied in game terms is that they're at the point where they're near death, and most people will try to surrender, they'll try to end the fight, they'll try to run away. Marcus Malice, let's see, will he try to? I think it's probably likely. So, because he's tough, but he's also a survivor. He realizes that, as the bullets pound into his armored cyber skull, he rolls off to the side, and he's staggering. Chunks of flesh, both synthetic and real, have been blown off the side of his head, revealing the steel and chrome beneath. So I think on a 5 or a 6. Or 5 or 6, he's going to try to parley or run or something like that. Let's see. Or I mean, on a 5 or 6, he won't. Is what I meant to say, because I think it's likely that he will try to surrender. So as he rolls away, he puts his there's blood pouring down his face, and he retracts his claws, and he holds his hands up. He's sitting on his ass, and there's blood from the various holes and shrapnel that he got hit for during the fight. And he says, "Hey, hey, hey, all right, all right, all right, all right, take your fucking whoever, just fucking take him. But if I ever see him around town, I'm gonna gut him before he can even cry to his uncle." And of course, you Jinx knows he even though he's beat, he's still got to put up a good face fate. This is not the kind of foe who's going to cry and beg from the floor, but he's going to make his threats even while surrendering. And Jinx, he's getting ready to put a bullet into Marcus's skull, and then he sees an image of Martina in that bullet that he put in her skull, and he hesitates, which he knows is not a good thing for a cyberpunk to do, not someone running the streets, not someone in the middle of a battle especially. But Felipe probably did owe him money, and he doesn't want to cause trouble if he can avoid it. It's such a hard call, though, because by putting a bullet in this guy's head, you could be avoiding future trouble, or by doing it, you could be causing yourself trouble by way of getting yourself as a reputation. Because even in the world of cyberpunks and the honor among thieves and the scum, you know, people like to survive if they can, if they're willing to pay ransoms and things like that. And you don't necessarily want to be that guy that everybody knows is going to kill them if they surrender, and then no one else ever surrenders, and then every fight becomes to the death. So Jinx, um, he takes the he takes Philippe and kind of drags him away from his kidnapper, away from Marcus Malice. And while he's still got his pistol leveled at the cyber thug, he says, "Toss me the key." And the thug reaches slowly into his belt and tosses a little data key, a nano key, and Jinx swipes it over all the various locks on this contraption. And then Felipe gets up and he's like, "Oh, thank you. Oh, just shut up. Shut up for now." And he goes ahead and he takes the big gun that the cyber brute was using. He takes it, Jinx does, and puts it over his shoulder, collects his gun that he got for the mission, hands it to Felipe. It's unloaded, so he knows Felipe can't accidentally shoot him in the ass. And he backs out. And he says, "Don't mess with us anymore. All right, Mr. Malice? Our family takes care of his own. And maybe you should stop trying to take advantage and rob these people coming in the city." Malice just rolls his eyes and what the fuck ever. But he's not going anywhere. He knows he's beat, and he's his little cyber vision is blinking in and out. So he's out of the fight, and Jinx is not going to kill him. Jinx escorts his brother out, signals the drone, and the drone leads them out. He leads them back to the car, and he stows his stuff in the car, and he splits. He gets out of there before Cyber Malice decides to screw himself back together and come get Felipe. And as they're driving, they're going to meet. Jinx is driving them to Uncle Ben's tower where he lives and works for the corporation. Felipe looks over and says, "Salvador? My name's Jinx. How did you get there? How did you even save me? How did you know? Uncle Ben. What's he have to do with this? Weren't you paying attention at all? That guy didn't even talk to me. He just scooped me up. He just scooped you up. Okay, I owed him some money. He was taking me there. Said he was going to shoot me in the head. What he was doing was he was shaking down Uncle Ben to pay for you, dumbass. Why are you even in the city? Man, it's hard out there. Those storms, man, they just washed away our whole community. The few of us that are left in this superstorms, they just finally beat. We thought we had it, so we had to come inside. All right. Well, you're Uncle Ben's problem now. Man, it's been good to see you. It's been so long. Look, it's good to see you too, but I don't fucking know you, okay? I got new family now. So don't even get any kind of idea that you're gonna come asking to crash on my couch. All right, you were out there dirt farming while I was eating shit in the gutters. So I'm gonna take you to Uncle Ben and say thank you very fucking much, and he's gonna pay me, and then neither one of you are gonna call me ever again. Shit, man, I thought you said this was all about family. Oh, yeah, 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 it's great. It's great to have a family who only contacts you when you want something, not when you're trying to make ends meet, living on the street, with losing one job after the other. So don't even fucking tell me about family. Now just shut the fuck up and sit there. And so he drives in fuming silence. Uh, he contacts Uncle Ben and gives him a terse, I got him. Come on, let us up. And the gate to the tower, the parking suite opens, the parking garage opens with after Uncle Ben buzzes down and talks to the guard, and they drive up several levels, and Jinx leads Felipe to an elevator, a nearby elevator, and with the permission from Uncle Ben, it takes them up. Not to the penthouse, but pretty high up there. Jinx walks out and he looks at the apartment, and it's not as big as even Johnny Switch's, but it's very nice. Definitely, Uncle Ben has been very successful, and he thinks this would have been he looks at the plate full of these designer gourmet foods, and he says that would have been, he doesn't say it, but he thinks that would have been great to have last year when I almost starved to death and was barely able to get any kind of assistance or help or work. Fucking chingado. And Uncle Ben, he looks kind of surprised but happy, but he doesn't rush forward to hug anybody. He says, I see you did it. Man, I really didn't think you'd do it. Did you kill the guy? Did you kill that dude? He was scary. No, I didn't kill him. But here's fucking Felipe. Transfer the creds and let's go. Ben looks at Felipe. Felipe shrugs and says, "Thank you, Uncle Ben. Thank you. Thank you for taking care of it." Uncle Ben taps his implant, and Jinx sees the money transfer into his account. Are you sure you just want to go, Salvatore? You don't want to catch up? I've got nothing to catch up with you people. Fuck, I haven't seen either of you in years. Some of this stuff would have been nice to have, Uncle, while I was fucking starving. And his uncle looks down. I've I've had my own problems to worry about. Oh yes, I see all the problems you have here. Don't judge me. You don't know anything, Salvatore. It's Jinx, and fuck you. And Jinx storms out to the elevator, hits the down button, and gets in his car. And he's not ready to go home just yet. He's really, um, I mean, one, he's pretty beat up, um, and he's got some stab wounds, but he's driving around just fuming. On the one hand, yeah, he won this fight, so he's jazzed about the fact that he kicked this cyber brute's ass barely. He chuckles and he feels or he doesn't chuckle, but he's as he turns the wheel a certain way, he feels the pain in his shoulder and realize he didn't kick his ass. He barely survived himself. um, but he takes his time around the city to cool down before returning home. He drops the he drops the car off, talks to Slab. So, did you get it done? Yeah, I got it done. I see that the armor helped. And she's looking at the blood that has dripped out through the claw marks on his shoulder. Yeah, I think they did. Although mechanically they didn't really help him. He failed all his armor rolls. Did you make out good? And Jinx Jinx knows that she's really more asking about him, how everything went. But he knows, yeah, I've got to pay the tithe, and so he transfers 10% to her, and she not raises her brows and nods appreciatively. That's pretty good. Why don't you head up to your room? I'll have Doc come up and take a look at you. And so he does. He doesn't really say much. He just walks out and heads up to his room. He's still kind of you know, still fuming over the whole thing, and he doesn't really understand why. He's not close to these people, but the whole thing just has him upset. And in one level, he thinks, maybe there's something I should look at here. Ah, fuck it. I don't want to deal with any AI therapists or shit. I just don't want to see those people anymore ever again. And he gets up there, the doc comes and patches him up, and Jinx enjoys his dinner and his beer. And that's the end of that mission. A very straightforward mission, but one that didn't involve him driving, one that had him, using his uh, shooting skills this time, his more direct combat skills. And so now we will do the resolve in the downtime. Let me get that up over here. All right. All right, so it's completed. Experience points. Okay, he didn't do a botch, but he survived the job, so he gets 1 experience point. Okay, so 1 experience point, straightforward, fairly easy. So, not really a great push on him. So 1 experience point for that, and a die 3 for leverage at the end of the job. Now my last 2 leverage points rolls have been pretty crappy. So let's see what we get here. Gee, many crack corn. One leverage point. That's like 3 times in a row I've gotten 1 leverage point. All right, so he's returned all of his fancy gear, so that stuff goes away. And then we'll refresh that for next time, just so I don't forget. Okay. Now, he didn't get a trauma, so once you're at the downtime, it's enough. He's fully healed. So, he gets his one leverage. What should he do with his leverage? Um, I think because he didn't really get much from that, he's going to trade it in for an experience point. So he gets one from the mission, and then one from his um, leverage. Um, actually, he's going to. No, no. I was going to say he could use his uncle's attachment maybe to help him achieve his orbitals, but he doesn't want any help from his uncle. Even if it would help him, he doesn't want anything from his uncle. So as he sits there with the med kit slowly uh, patching up for the doc, or healing what the doc had sewn up and put this kid over. He sits, he smokes a little fly to relax himself, and really ponders. Even though he's not interested in finding out any more about his family, he spends the rest of the night wondering where the people he knew as a kid, where they went off to after his mom and he kind of left for their own part of the city. He didn't have a lot of contact with them. So he kind of makes some discreet inquiries, seeing if he can remember names and people. He doesn't really get any farther. He doesn't get any information, nor does he really feel good about doing it. So he all the warm curiosity slowly fades, and he shuts his searches off, and he drifts off into sleep. And we'll call it right there. Again, that one ran a little long. I had the intention of making all these like around 30 minutes, but maybe I'm just too long-winded for that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did, and happy gaming.